What's up guys, Mickle here, and I actually had a different video queued up today, but then this fantastic interview of Brad Garlinghouse dropped, and I knew I needed to cover it. Because one of the things I always say on this channel is that whenever Brad Garlinghouse or David Schwartz or any other high-up person at Ripple talks, we need to listen, because these are the people trailblazing XRP to be a next-generation asset in our financial system. Guys, in this video, I want to show you my favorite parts of this interview, and show you my takeaways from what Brad Garlinghouse and the rest of the team at Ripple are bringing to the financial system of the future. Guys, I think this video is going to have you really excited, and I want to leave you with one key takeaway, so make sure to stick around for that. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Guys, thank you to everyone who takes the time to like the videos and to subscribe to the channel. These two things really do help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, before we jump into the clips that I believe you need to see from this hour-long video, I just pulled the things that I thought were the most interesting for you guys. I want to talk about one thing in particular, and that is something Brad Garlinghouse, in my opinion, has been making explicitly clear. And that is Ripple, the company, is 100% committed to XRP. Guys, over the past couple weeks and months, we have seen Ripple launch a lot of new products, whether it's stable coins, private ledgers, or other pieces of centralized software, and every single time it leaves people asking the question, is Ripple still committed to XRP? Well guys, at XRP Vegas, Brad Garlinghouse specifically came out and said, we are 100% committed to the future of XRP, and everything we build comes back to XRP in one way or another. Guys, I believe after watching the videos I'm going to show you in this clip, you are going to fully understand that Ripple is building next generation products for the future financial system, but XRP is always going to be the beating heart of what they're doing. Guys, this is the most important takeaway I have been seeing from most of Brad Garlinghouse's interviews. He wants you to know that Ripple is an XRP-centric company, and that is not going to change. The other thing I want to mention real quick that I think is awesome is you can 100% tell that Brad Garlinghouse has his confidence back. He knows Ripple has won the war against the SEC. He knows that his company is going to be transformational when we come out on the other side of this regulatory attack. Guys, Brad Garlinghouse dropped some hints in here that lets me know that Ripple has already gotten everything they needed from the Ripple SEC case, and now it's just wrapping things up and moving on to an administration that's actually going to help this industry rather than hurt it. With that said, I want to play you my favorite clips from this interview because, like I said, this thing was over an hour long. These are the parts I think you need to see.
He really kind of introduced this idea of this internet of value and how for that to exist, you need certain oil in that engine to grease the system so that it can work. And XRP, the digital asset that Ripple has kind of standardized on, if you will, extremely fast, extremely low cost, and it could be an interesting use case for that. So, again, I think there's going to be lots of cryptos that win. You and I have talked about that before. Yeah. I think there'll be different use cases and different protocols and different technologies that will win. But his vision and kind of what he talked about and bridging the kind of traditional financial world with this next generation, at the time we weren't calling it Web3, it really appealed to me. One last thing I'll say about this that I think is something I thought about. I don't think there's that many times in your life where you get to do something where you really can, to borrow a Steve Jobs expression, put a dent in the universe. There have been a couple of times in my career where I feel like I've had that opportunity, but it's pretty rare, it's pretty unique. And when I thought about what Ripple is trying to do, it's one of these kind of audacious things of like, okay, we're going to enable an internet of value. We're going to build systems to catalyze that future vision. It's definitely one of those things you're like, okay, if we do that, that's going to change the way some of these systems operate. And you're going to feel like, I helped put a dent in the universe. And there's something I find personally gratifying about that it's not in kind of as Elon Musk for him, I think it was about, as you described, like it's important work for the world.
Yeah.
I think if you can unlock an internet of value, it's going to change a lot about how some of these things work. It's inevitable. And it's inevitable that, right now we're talking about is $2.5 trillion. Look, do I think this is an easy 10x over the next 5 to 10 years? Yeah, no problem. That doesn't freak me out when I say that at all.
Like that's conservative. If you
that feels safe. I mean, to the earlier conversation about asymmetric returns, is there a chance that it's 100x in that time frame? It feels aggressive, but I don't know. Like I think that many people in the United States, particularly, don't understand what it would be like to have lived in Argentina and have the Argentinian peso devalued effectively to zero multiple times in my lifetime. Why would you hold that currency?
I mean, I have said publicly, I think that the market will be over 5 trillion by the end of this year, which is a double from where we are now. How that applies to Bitcoin versus XRP. I mean, like people forget before the SEC got involved and said that ETH is not a security, XRP was the second most valuable digital asset.
Wow, that wasn't
that long ago.
That wasn't long ago. What, 3-4 years?
It was 2018 when Hinman gave
ago.
his speech. So 6 years, a little less than 6 years ago. Yeah, 5 years and change. And look, when a government actor gets involved, markets change, and maybe that's to be expected.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you still have that government actor involved. Unfortunately, you still see, and I believe what I read. Usually, look, it appears the SEC is trying to mount a case against ETH. To me, that's absurd. To me, that's like, you've already lost a bunch. Why would you keep fighting this fight?
Yeah.
But, look, unfortunately, I don't think the US government should be putting their hands on the scale of winners and losers. In the long run, I think the best technologies applied with the best use cases, delivering the best utility, that they'll win. And what that looks like over the next 10 years, like we can debate, but I'm very optimistic about the market. And there's no negative consequence to Gary Gensler to keep fighting the fight.
No, you're right.
Doesn't cost him a dime.
What do you think about the future in that regards then? Like, do you feel like the SEC is powerful enough to curtail the crypto industry as a whole, or do you think it's a matter of time?
Oh, they're going to lose in the long run.
They're going to lose in the long run. Just enough
This
time.
is just, I mean, look, if you look at the continued growth of crypto as a multi-decade arc of time, this is nothing.
This is nothing.
It's a speed bump. Because I'm so optimistic about what the future of crypto looks like, we'll look back in 20 years and be like, God, that sucked. But you know what? Little bump, whatever. The market, in my opinion, the market will be measured in many, 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 many trillions.
Yeah.
And it will change the way many, many transactions work, because it's a way to reduce friction, reduce cost, make things more efficient. It's going to win in the long run. The best technology usually wins in the long run.
Yeah. I'm curious from your standpoint, how did you stay mentally strong? Did you have any particular habits or
You're
systems?
assuming I did stay mentally strong.
Well, you ended up lasting long enough to get here. But I'm curious, like, what was that like for you? And like, how did you navigate that and, parlay that into advice for other CEOs navigating their own uncertainties?
I mean, look, it takes conviction for sure.
Yeah.
I thought I was right. And we were in a position, Ripple, the company, was in a financial position where we could fight. And I think one of the hard things about what has happened in the crypto space is the SEC has been a bully. I mean, like, that's the right word. They're a bully because they go after weak players. And to your earlier point about the adversary of the SEC, I mean, one of the biggest problems here is they're not a rational capitalistic actor. There's no downside for them spending another $100 million of time and energy and resource to file the appeal. Like, it's a little like if you're running a company and you sue Ripple and you lose a couple different things, which they have lost repeatedly against Ripple, you probably are like, okay, I'm out. Like, let's not
worth it. Yeah.
That natural incentive structure that exists in capitalism doesn't exist with a government actor. The people who brought the case, there's no negative outcome to them.
Yeah.
They were gone by the time the SEC lost. The people who continue to fight the case, there's no downside to them. The budgets, and so people ask, well, will the SEC continue to fight this fight? And it's like, well, I mean, to some degree, until there's a new administration, and I mean the SEC administration more than the White House.
Yes, definitely.
They're all in on fighting this fight, and there's no negative consequence to Gary Gensler to keep fighting the fight.
No, you're right.
It doesn't cost him a dime. I finished business school in 1997, which was an amazingly good time to come out of business school, given the birth of the internet, kind of in really the 1.0. And not surprisingly, perhaps, there's a whole bunch of people from my business school class doing really interesting things in crypto, not the least of which is the CEO of Amazon, the guy named Andy Jassy.
At this is Ripple's really trying to solve that cross-border payments problem. Central bank digital currencies are domestic by nature. They're issued by a central bank or potentially issued by a central bank. So they're not really solving cross-border problems. They're solving domestic solutions more often than not. So look, I think that what we're seeing happen with stablecoins, we're seeing happening with central bank issued digital assets, I think is exciting. I'm not exactly clear how it's all going to play out. You're seeing countries experiment and test. Ripple has partnered with several central banks around the world. Some we've announced, some we haven't yet announced, that they're issuing and testing using the XRP ledger to issue their digital assets on the XRP ledger as a token. So we're excited to be working with them. And look, at our core, Ripple's really good at working with enterprise customers. A government is just a big enterprise customer. We know how to sell to.
That's an interesting notion.
I mean, in some ways, it's just a really big enterprise customer, and we're pretty good at that now because we've had a lot of experience with it and worked with some of the largest banks in the world, as well as a lot of the smaller payment companies that have grown very quickly using our technology. It's helped them grow more quickly.
And